Hi guys, just thought I'd do a video first in my survival series. The first the first video is going to be about communication. Now, in the general shit hits the fan situation, SHTF. Yeah, sorry, I'm half asleep. Yeah, in the general SHTF situation, phones like this and like this aren't going to be working. So say you've got relatives that live a couple of miles away, maybe even further, or maybe you live not too far away. How are you going to be able to communicate with them to tell them where you're going to meet up, whose house you're going to go to, where you're going to meet, and then even communicate to people. For example, just one family by themselves is going to struggle to defend their whole house. You need more than one people, so perhaps if you get a whole street involved. But yeah, how are you going to get them to communicate? Right, so you've got wind up, hand crank, radios like this. They're quite good for getting information, but you can't put information out of them, as far as I know. It's got an extendable aerial. Look, this is quite good. I'd definitely recommend getting one of these. But yeah, so good for receiving, not very good for giving out. So then you've got to turn to a walkie-talkie. I haven't got them. Everyone knows what a walkie-talkie looks like. But when I have got them, I don't know where they are. I've lost them. Well, no, I know where they are. They're in a box in the bottom of the cupboard, and I couldn't bother to get them out. But yeah, so there's that. Now the problem with them, very good for communicating. When I was in Wales, we had a set of them, so the different walkie parties communicate. Only supposed to do 3K. I think we got it up to something like 4K. It was a new record, so that was quite good. But we were quite high up, and there wasn't any interferences. My walkie-talkies are supposed to do about 3K in an urban area, which pretty much call that an urban area. Sorry, I'm trying to everything's backwards on this camera, but yeah, I pretty much live in an urban area. And my nan lives about a mile away, and my nan and my aunt live about a mile away. But the other side of them is all fields and grass. So hopefully, but we've tested the walkie-talkies, and I can get signal from here to there with the walkie-talkies. Now the problem with that is, if you've got someone who's trying to stop your communication, if they press the button, the call button, they find what channel you're on and press the call button, it completely blanks out the whole system, and you can't communicate messages across, and they can come in, they can hear what you're saying. Now to get around that problem, the thing that we're doing at the moment, we're trying to figure out how to do, is a thing called book codes. So for example, you take a book like this. Now you'd get a book like this that not many people have, preferably quite an old book. This book was printed in 1977, so preferably an old book that not many people have, rather than a book like this, which a lot of people have. And you'd say, for example, so to get the message across, you'd say, for example, page 4. So you turn to page 4. Alright, let me just find page 4. And then you say line. Say you wanted to say then. So I don't know if you can see this. Can you see it? Let me just find where. No, but you can't. But I think you get the general idea. You say line 4, so you'd go 4 lines down in the book. Word 6, and that would be. So you got each end has to have one of these books to communicate. So preferably you need 2 books, and not one that's too modern that a lot of people have. You need sort of an old book. So for example, if I wanted to say hello, I would you'd find hello in the book, and you'd say, page 53, line 6, word number 4, and then they'd get their book, turn to page 56, or 53, or whatever I said, go to line 6, and then go to word 4, and then they'd read it, and then they'd write it down. There's that. Or you can send Morse code messages, which are quite hard to do. Take a lot of patience, and you have to have a clear line of sight from each thing, each position. And if someone else discovers that you're using Morse code, let me just find something a second. If someone else discovers that you're using Morse code, they can easily translate your messages. This is when something like this comes in handy. Code sheets. So each end has one of these, and for example, you take the letter A and you designate a number to it, not 1, not 2. There can be a system to it, but I prefer to do it with random numbers, just so the system's very hard to break. To break this, you physically need this piece of paper. As for example, if you have this, you physically need the book to decode it. There's no sort of two ways around it. That's why I haven't got a system. For example, letter A might be 66. So if you wanted to say hello, you go, where's H? 64, 79, 20, 20, 37. So that'll be hello, and then for space, you might say 11 or something like that, or 00. Try not to go with anything too obvious. For example, 00, which is quite an obvious one for a space. And a lot of codes designate it to just one letter. That's quite easy to break. Other people, if you've got a set of 2 letters like this, people would think that a lot of people would think each letter was each number. So for example, R is 73. They might think the 7's a separate letter and the 3's a separate letter. It all just depends on how clever they are. You might even look, like I've got for W here, put EN. You might even want to throw a couple of false bits in there. A lot of people might think that signified a space or a full stop. But yeah, it's just a matter of choice. But the general, and there's also CRB radios and those sorts of things. I'm not going to get into them because I haven't got them. I don't know too much about them, but they would be a good thing to get. But I think at the moment, the general way of receiving information. So for example, if there's a radio station putting out information, or I think you can get CB radio information from here, will be to use this, and the other way for communicating between places would be the walkie-talkies. Just something else I'm going to touch on: field phones. What a field phone is basically is it's a wire running between 2 phones. There's no way of interrupting the signal because it's a wire. So as I said before, my nan lives about a mile away. You could run a wire to her house all through the suburban area. Wouldn't be practical, and if somebody finds it and they want to intercept your calls, they can through tapping into the wire. And also, if the wire's cut or damaged, you can't. That's your radio your reception gone. So this is just the first sort of introductory video. Wasn't the most interesting one. There'll probably be some more. I'm probably going to do some more. Well, no, I am going to do some more. Just got to figure out what on. Might go out today, might go out later. But yeah, that's about it. Have a nice rest of the day. And I hope you watch the rest of my videos. Right, thanks. Bye.